What's up, people? Now, the subscribers to my channel, you know good and well, I am not into Christianity at all. In fact, I'm not into no religion. I believe in spirituality, totally. To me, all religions are man-made. However, there was a time in the history of this country where black people, Hebrew Israelites, flipped the script and used the Bible to attain our freedom. Nat Turner, for instance, he believed that he was Moses. And other black people used the Bible to gain faith in God to fight for our deliverance from slavery. We had spiritual leaders, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, fighting for civil rights and voting rights, and they used the church. So at one time, we flipped the script on the church, which was supposed to be used to enslave us. We flipped the script. But now, the narrative has been switched back, and the churches are using us. Now, this brings me to the point. I was reading, going through YouTube, and I kept running around, coming across this guy, Gino Jennings, a pastor of some kind of truth church. And the guy said something that resonated with me about homosexuality being an abomination. Deuteronomy 22, verse 5 tells you this. You don't have to guess or do anything to figure this out. Then he showed deep insight when he said that Christmas was satanic, and Christmas is satanic. It is a Roman holiday, actually. And there is no proof that Yashua was born on December 25th anyway. But now let's get to the point, though. So I was going to give this guy a shout out on my channel, and he was making me think. Well, this guy, maybe there is still some good left in Christianity. So I went to research him as I research anything before I talk about it. And the guy said the most blasphemous thing he could say. He said Jesus was God. That's blasphemy. That's total blasphemy. I mean, if you go to the Bible and you go to Mathews 19, verse 17, and Jesus tells this guy, I am not God. When the guy called him good master. The guy called Yashua good master, and Yashua responded and said, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments, and it goes on and on and on. But Jesus told him that when he said good, meaning perfect, the only person that is good and perfect is God. And Jesus said, why are you calling me this? That is self-explanatory, and there is nothing secretive about that. And to call Jesus God is blasphemy. It doesn't even make sense. Now, if you go to Mark 3, verse 35, and Yahshua says, for whosoever shall do the will of God, the same is my brother and my mother. The same is my brother and my sister and mother. Yahshua is saying that whosoever shall do the will of God. He didn't say who shall do whatever I tell them to do, who should do whatever I teach them to do. He said whosoever shall do the will of God, the same is my brother and my sister and my mother. That's pretty explanatory to me. That's pretty explanatory to me that Yashua is not God. Okay. Now let's go to Luke 9 verse 22, where Jesus says, "The Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected of the elders and chief priests and scribes and be slain and be raised the third day." Jesus was talking about himself, and he called himself the Son of Man, meaning that he was a man. And now let's move down from Luke 9, and let's go down to verse 26. "For whosoever shall be ashamed of me and of my words of him, shall the Son of Man be ashamed, when he shall come in his own glory and in his Father's and of the holy angels." Yahshua called himself the Son of Man. The Son of Man. And he said, "And when he shall come in his own glory and in his Father's and of the holy angels." And let me go back to Luke Luke 7. No, Luke 8, verse 20. And Yahshua said here, "My mother and my brethren are these which hear the word of God and do it." So he's saying that his mother, brother, and sister are those who hear the word of God and do it. So he's saying that they will be his kin if they follow the word of God. What is hard to understand about that? I also believe I heard Pastor Jennings say that God created himself. Where in the Bible does it say God created himself? Let me tell you where it says that in the Bible. Nowhere. And the simple fact of the matter is that if God created himself, then he would be separate from the creator who created him. But understand this: God is what we call eternal. God is eternal, meaning always being. God is the opposite of nothing existing. God is the impossibility of nothing existing. God is the impossibility of nothing existing. And that is all we can say and know about God. Spiritual philosophy. That's all we can say, is that God is the impossibility of nothing existing, and then we leave it there. All this stuff about God, we don't know. Did God walk down to tell him this? Where's he getting this information from? He's making it up. Now, I want to finish by saying this. Calling Yahshua God is blasphemy. That is putting Yahshua in front of God. Now, if Yahshua was God, could you kill God? Would God be reincarnated? Because what we're talking, Yahshua rising from the dead is reincarnation. And when he says he's going to return, that is reincarnation. It's reincarnation. That's common sense. Why would God die and come back. The creator of the universe, the creator of thousands of universes. And he's got all this power. Let me explain something. The Bible is Hebrew Israelite history. Spiritual philosophy is the teachings of Hebrew Israelites. You will find it in the Kabbalion, K-Y-B-A-L-I-O-N. That is our teaching. Greek philosophy, the summum bonum, that is our teachings. Hebrew Israelites were philosophers. We were not religious people. We were philosophers. And that's what we are today. And that's what we must return back to. We're philosophers. Religions are man-made. That's why you have so many of them. And they're always fighting and making wars against each other. And if you are, and that's why you always hear this guy, he wants to argue with the Muslims. He wants to argue with this person. He wants to argue with that person. I'm going to tell you this. He can't argue with me. What I said is in the Bible. You read it and understand it for yourself. Read it and understand it for yourself. Yashua's, and then he's really being a racist, Uncle Gino, when he says that Jesus is God. That is a white supremacist ideology. We all know why Christianity was created in the first place. To enslave and to colonize and to brainwash our minds into a belief system that would make us easy to control. And when he says Jesus is God, he is doing the work of a white supremacist. And I'm quite sure that during the slave days, the slave master would love to hear him run his mouth. And the simple fact of the matter is, if he knows so much, then he should have read Deuteronomy 28. And if he read Deuteronomy 28, then he knows that we are Hebrew Israelites and we are not Christians anyway. So now I researched him, checked him out. He's BS. Now tell him to come and talk to me. Like and subscribe and have a great day.